Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Daily Dose of Awesome, where we are going to talk about tips, tricks, and content ideas to maximize your potential with Facebook stories. So welcome. My name is Helen Martin. If we have not met before, I am coming to you live all the way from Australia for today's edition of the Daily Dose of Awesome, your 15 minutes of inspiration, motivation, and education for the day. So as you are hopping in, please say hello. Tell us where you're coming in from so we can give you a bit of a shout out. We've got Melinda on. Hello, Melinda. Good to see you all jumping on. So are you using Facebook stories? Hello, Olive. Lovely to see you on. Are you embracing this thing called Facebook stories? It is really something that you should be utilizing, or I'd highly recommend you do utilize if you're building your business online. Hey, Alexandra. Hey, Sharon. Hey, Eileen. Good to see you on. Hello, Heidi. So Facebook stories is one of these features that's given to us that Facebook is really encouraging us to embrace, and it's this whole new world of what they call ephemeral content. Have you heard that word before? So ephemeral content is basically means content that disappears. So it's there for a period of time and then it goes away. So that's what Facebook stories is all about. We can save the content though, and there's a couple of things that I want to share with you on screen, and a lot of questions that I get around Facebook stories that I just thought I'd share with you guys. So if you're having problems accessing Facebook stories, hopefully I can resolve that for you on this video and just give you a few tips and tricks and content ideas to utilize the feature, because the organic reach that we're getting from Facebook stories can be really cool. So it's somewhere that you want to start playing around, because they're going to give more focus to stories type content, ephemeral content that's there for a period of time but then it disappears. And it is important for you to know that the algorithm and the newsfeed as such, if you want to call it that, they're totally separate. So the traditional newsfeed that we see on Facebook and Facebook stories, whether it's personal page or business page, or you are utilizing both, and I would recommend that you utilize both, it's a totally different algorithm. So it's not one and the same. The idea is to have different content, not exactly the same. So you might have similar content. So I just posted stories to both my personal profile and my business page, which is similar. It's basically taking a picture of what I'm doing now, just slightly different wording. I wasn't very creative, so it's similar, but it's not exactly the same. If we put the exact same content in our newsfeed that we do in Facebook stories, then what's the point of people looking at your stories? It's the same with Instagram and Facebook. We don't want exactly the same content in both places, because then people will stop looking at you in other places if the content is exactly the same. So it's something that Facebook mentioned back in March in its conference, where it announces what's coming and what they're focusing on for the future. And a few things that you might remember from then, if you were aware of them, was Facebook groups was a focus area, privacy was a major focus area, and this ephemeral content, this disappearing content. And you know, the news feed that we know it today is not what we're going to be looking at in the future. We're going to be looking at more sort of ephemeral content. So it's something we do need to embrace and get used to, even if you're sort of not there yet. I would encourage you to just go and play, because it's actually, when you know how, really easy to use. It's fun. It gives you the ability to do all this behind the scenes stuff and create interest and intrigue about who you are and what you're up to in your life without a lot of thought. So we do have to think a lot about content creation in our newsfeed and what we're coming up with content, and try to make that interesting. We've got stuff going on our personal page and potentially stuff on a business page if you're using business pages. And we've got to think a lot about, content creation. With stories, you literally just point, shoot, take a photo, take a little, video, put some emojis on it and a few words, and away you go. So it's very simple for you to embrace, but it helps people get to know who you are. particularly in the Facebook Stories feature on a business page. It enables you to sort of showcase a little bit about you and a little bit about your life and let people into your world without having to think too much about content creation. So what I wanted to share with you, and I hope this comes out okay, is I've got my old phone and I've dulled the screen, so hopefully the glare isn't too bad. And I just want to share a couple of things with you that I get a lot of questions about. And one of those is I can't access Facebook Stories on my business page. So there is a workaround. Hopefully, majority of you can access Facebook Stories from your business page if you're utilizing one. But if you don't, I just want to show you a workaround. And I will say that I have an iPhone, you might have an Android, you might have a new phone, an old phone, a very old phone. You may not have updated your Facebook app for a while. There's all sorts of reasons why you might see different things than what I'm going to show you. So yeah, it's not always going to be the same for all of us. If you can't access some features, I would recommend updating your Facebook app. So just delete it and reload it, and sometimes that gives us some features that we didn't have before. But if you've got a really old phone, you might not see some features. If you've got an Android versus an iPhone, you might have different features. So I don't have all the answers for that because everybody's a little bit different, okay? So when we have a personal profile on our business page, you've got two different apps. So you've got the normal Facebook app. Come back, hang on. Just got to put my code in, sorry. We've got the normal blue app, and then we've got the business pages app with the white with the orange flag. So if you're accessing your business page from your phone, you should be going through that app there. The problem with that for some reason is they're not seeing the stories feature. Most people it's rolled out now, but for some of you, you can't. So if I go into my business app, and I pull up my page, you can see that I've got a circle and I've got the little blue plus on it. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I've got the little blue plus on it. So I just press that, trying to do it all backwards, and then I can create a story. So I've got the feature even though this is my old phone. If you can't see it for some reason, one of the ways around it is if you go back to the blue normal Facebook phone, and you're going to have your business page linked up here. So I've got my personal profile sitting at the top and my business page, the second one. So if I access the second one, so now I'm accessing my business page through the blue Facebook app and not the business pages app. And you can see here it's a circle with the plus sign again. I had to do that for quite some time. Go through that way. So go through the blue Facebook app, pick up my business page from that app, and then I was able to use Facebook Stories. Now I've got the feature on my business page from my old phone. I had it on my new phone, but not my old phone. So I just wanted to share that with you just as a bit of troubleshooting for those of you that may not be able to access. That is a little bit of a workaround. The other thing I wanted to share with you with Facebook Stories, I'll just go back to the feed and pull it up. Hang on. Bear with me while I'm playing with technology here. So it's front and center on my personal profile. So I'm just on my news feed, and you can see it front and center. So I press the button and I've got a whole lot of features up here. So I can go to my camera roll and pick up a photo that's already in there. I can press on camera. Now this might look a little bit different for you guys, depending on all those variables I just said. I can go to the camera or I can pick up one of these. Now I did want to highlight, there's a new one of these. I don't have it yet, but there's text, selfie, boomerang, poll, and there's a new one called slideshow. I don't have it even on my new phone, which I'm on at the moment, but slideshow is a new one. I do find being in Australia, sometimes I get things a little bit later than other parts of the world. So I'm not sure if that's legit or not, but I do find that I get things a little bit later. But have a look in there for slideshow. Slideshow is a new update in Facebook Stories where Facebook really want people that are not familiar with Facebook Stories to utilize, because it's really, really easy. All you need to do is push on it, pick on a few photos from your camera roll and post it. So that one, they're trying to get the older generation to use Facebook stories. So that one's called Slideshow. So check out if you've got that one. But what I also wanted to share with you, when you're doing your stories, so I'm just going to take a picture of a blank screen. So I've just taken a photo. So let's just say that's a photo of me, but I'm just for demonstration, I've just taken a photo and I've got my case at the back. So it's just taken a photo of nothing. Okay, now the features down here, I can put like an emoji on this. So we go and play, I can enlarge it. I can put some words on it. I can say, hi, hi, do that. I might put a little squiggle. So yeah, let's just put a squiggle around it. Like I'm just playing for purposes of this. So I've done my story, okay? Now, and I've done. So a lot of people don't keep their stories. So two things here. You can save a story before you post it. So if it's something that you want to keep, then press the save button down the bottom and save it to your camera roll and then post it to stories because it's going to disappear, okay? The other thing is this little privacy thing down here. If I click on that, you should all check this. This is personal profile. Business page is going to be public anyway, but personal profile, check where your stories are going to. So you want to click that privacy, that little wheel, and click the privacy and check that it's on public. The normal default for Facebook stories is that it's going to be on your friends only. So there's huge potential here for extended exposure about who you are, what you're up to, having fun, smiling, fun with your kids, out at the beach, going for a walk, whatever you're doing, having it public so people can see it that are not your friends and family. If you're building a business on social media, then you really should have your actual profile public, but just make sure your stories are public, because just because your profile's public doesn't mean your stories are public. So we want to check that. The other thing you want to check is, it's not showing at me there, but I know on my new phone, up the top in the same section, so have a look above here, there's a little area where it says, do you want to save like all your stories that you publish? You want to toggle that over and have yes. You want to be archiving all your stories and keeping them. What's the reason for that? The reason for that, my friends, is if you go back to Facebook, your personal profile, you can create, I'm just going to go to my profile to show you what I mean. Sitting on, just bear with me while I get to my personal profile. If I scroll down to my personal profile, can you see I've got some folders there called story highlights? So one is just called work. So I'm just throw random stuff in there about, what I'm up to. And then I've got one that says family. So you can create folders and story highlights on your personal profile with all your saved Facebook stories. So somebody can come into my personal profile, and if they want to check me out a little bit, or, what am I all about? They could go into my family stories highlights, and they can click, and you can see that I've got 2 boys. I live near the beach. Little things, just mucking around with my kids. Like you can just tap and get to know me a little bit better. Just by clicking through my Facebook stories highlights. So there's all sorts of things that you can do with Facebook stories that maybe you're not utilizing yet. The other tip I want to give you is on business pages. You've got extra features on business pages that we don't have on stories on personal profiles. One of those, and I do believe you have to have a certain amount of followers for this to work, so you may not have this, but if I go into my business page, and it's already sitting on create a story because that's where I was, create a story. I'm just going to take a picture of a blank screen just for this example. I play around with the stuff on the top. I'm going to put a GIF on it. So I'm going to put some moving smiley faces. Okay, so I use animated stuff. Put words on it. Another tip around Facebook stories is You don't want it to all be still shots. You want it to be little videos. So when I push the video button, the video on Facebook stories is for 20 seconds, just 20 seconds. It's far more interesting for somebody looking through stories to look at a video, something that's moving, than just a still image. So if you're going to use still images, I would highly recommend throwing emojis or GIFs or words on them, because what you don't want on Facebook, what you don't want on stories is people tapping forward. So when people tapping forward, it's basically saying to the algorithm, I don't actually want to stay with this content, I want to fast forward. When you give people funny things to look at or some writing on there to read, something a little bit more interesting, then people aren't going to tap forward. So it's good to use the little video feature. So if I just go back, and it's not very exciting for me to take a video of a blank screen, but if I hold my finger on that, that red line is going to go around for 20 seconds. So at the moment I'm taking a video of a blank screen, woohoo. But let's say I'm taking a little bit of video. So that's a video. It just happens to be black for this demonstration. And then I've got all these features up the top. Now, one thing I do want to alert you to on a business page, you may not have it yet, but if you're building a business page, you might get it in the future. Have a look at this one on the end. That is a link. It's a clickable link in stories, guys. So you can have a link to your website, a URL link to a lead magnet, anything. So this is only going to show what's linked on your business page. So I've got shop now, learn more, and book now, but call now and get directions is not highlighted because I don't have those activated on my business page. But check up here, it says custom link. So I can put a link to my Facebook group, I can put a link to anything I want, and people are going to see that on my Facebook stories. So clickable links on Facebook stories. Polls are on Facebook stories. So you can pick up the feature. Sorry, if I go back, I take another blank picture. Can you see that we've got location, time, GIF, and poll? So I can create a poll. I can put my own question in there. I can have a yes, do you want this or this? Do you need more leads or do you need more people to talk to? Same sort of thing, but you can make it a yes in your poll. Like there's all sorts of things that you can do. Guys, you may not see the clickable link unless you've got a certain amount of followers. So as I said, I just do need to put a disclaimer. What I've showed you there, it's my phone. I'm on an iPhone. You might be Android. You may not have some of these features. You may not have as many followers on your page, all those kind of things. So please take that in consideration. What I would say to you though, is if you start playing around and utilizing it, then when new features come out, you'll get them first. So people that are not using stories won't get new features for Facebook stories first because you're not priority sort of in the stories. But the goal, and if you've got questions, I'll go back to them afterwards. I can see there's lots of comments, so yeah, I'll go back to those shortly. The goal is to have the blue ring around your profile. So what I mean by the blue ring, this is just the last thing, guys. I won't keep you too much longer. So if I go back to my profile, hang on, I'll go to my personal profile. I've got stories on both of them at the moment. View my profile. Can you see that I've got a blue ring around my, around the circle? The blue ring means I've got an active story. So personal page or business page, it means that I've got an active story if I've got a blue ring. You always want to strive for a blue ring. And how you get the blue ring is at least one story every 24 hours because that's when they disappear, 24 hours. So if you can just point at yourself, take a selfie, put some words on it, say have a fabulous day, Just aim for one story a day, so you've always got the blue ring. You've always got something happening in the algorithm of Facebook stories. And if you think, I've got a boring life, what would I do? If you wake up in the morning, you have the ability to smile and move. You have the ability to put something in your Facebook stories. So don't overthink it. Just take selfies, take a photo outside. Majority of you overseas have got summer at the moment. You can tell I'm in the middle of winter. Like, if you're out walking and it's a beautiful day, having a cup of coffee, like, take a photo and post it to your stories. Don't overthink it. Just let people into your life. And when people get to know, like, and trust you on social media, that's when they're more inclined to look at your content and give you their email address and be interested in what you have. It's like this weird concept of reality TV. People love behind the scenes content. They just love it. You know, you think of people like Gary Vee and Mel Robbins, you know, they've got cameras behind them 24/7 and they're living their life on social media. And people love it. Think of reality TV. Have you got a favorite TV show that you love that's absolutely ridiculous because people are in a lounge room, or, you know, Survivor or something? I do quite like Survivor, actually. Do you get that overseas? You know, people just doing random stuff, but people love watching that stuff because it's real, raw, and authentic. So embrace real, raw, and authentic in Facebook stories. It's one of the, you know, focus areas for Facebook. So it'd be really good for you to utilize it to increase your organic reach, you know, and have the algorithm working for you in those areas. So, was that helpful for you? If you don't know much about Facebook stories, I hope that gave you a little bit of insight, or a little bit of troubleshooting, or a little bit of, you know, a few ideas for creating content on Facebook stories. So go and be creative, go and play. It's free, it's easy, it's fun, so why not? Okay, so it's always awesome to be with you on my editions of the Daily Dose of Awesome, and I look forward to seeing you guys on my next edition. Bye.